Good morning to one and all present here. I am Ramya Devi, working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Engineering. Today I am going to share a small article regarding HTTP request and response messages. So what is an HTTP? So HTTP is an hypertext transfer protocol which is used in the internet for communication between the client and the server. So HTTP is based on the request response communication model. So here the client sends a request and then the server sends back the response. So here HTTP is a stateless protocol. So which means the protocol does not require the server to remember anything about the client between the request. So here this is an image showing a web client and a HTTP server. So web client is sending an HTTP request to the HTTP server and then it processes the request and then it is sending back the HTTP response to the web client. And this is the browser server interaction. So in which first the client application. So the client application like in a web browser we are sending an HTTP request to the server. So through the network connection the HTTP server is sent to the internet through TCP or UDP, which delivers the message to the underlying hardware, and then the IP handles the machine to machine transfer through the internet. And here the IP address is used for identifying a particular destination system in an internet. So through the IP address it finds out the particular destination, and then after that in a particular system it finds out the TCP or UDP port which needs this actual message, and then through network communication this HTTP request is sent to the server application like a web server, and then it process the HTTP request, and again it will send the HTTP response from the server to the client application. So here TCP IP connection, that is 80 is the standard port number for HTTP request. So this is the overall structure of your HTTP request. So the first is the overall structure, and next we are going to see the HTTP version and request URI, request method, header fields and MIM types. So this is the overall structure of the request. First we'll have a start line and then a header field and a blank line and a message body. So here this is the start line in which we have an HTTP version. So HTTP 1.1, and it is on 3 space separated parts like HTTP request method, request URI and HTTP version, and then the method, path and the version of the protocol. So these are the headers. So the initial version of HTTP was referred to as the HTTP/0.9 and HTTP 1.0 and 1.1. And this is the HTTP request URI. So the concatenation of the string HTTP : double quotes, the value of the host header field and the request URI forms a string known as uniform resource identifier, that is called URI. So there are two types of URIs. One is uniform resource name, the other one is uniform resource locator. So the uniform resource name can be used to identify resources with unique names such as books, which have a unique ISBN scheme as URL. Next is the uniform resource locator, specifies location at which a resource can be found. In addition to HTTP, some other URL schemes are HTTPS, FTP, mail-to and file. And this is an non-HTTP URL schemes like FTP, Telnet, mail-to, HTTPS, files and all is an non-HTTP URL schemes. So this is the HTTP request in which we have an get method, which is used when you type a URL into a location bar of your browser, and get is used by default when you click on the link in a document. So post method is typically used to send some information which is collected from a form or some other thing which a client wants to send to the server, which is displayed in the browser back to the web server. So these are the various request methods we have, and popularly we use get and post methods. So get method is used for returning the resource by the request URI as the body of the HTTP response message, and post is used for sending those data from your client to the web server. and this is the header field. See, host header field is used when forming the URI associated with an HTTP request, and each header field begins with a field name such as host followed by a colon and then a field value. And these are the header fields of an HTTP request, so which is a post or a servlet, echo HTTP request, and the version of the HTTP, and to which web server we are going to connect, and who is the user agent, and what type of text we are going to send, and what is the language behind the text, and the encoding format, the character set, and whether the connection is live or not, and how many seconds we have to keep the HTTP request live in an internet, and what is the length of the content. And these are the HTTP request message which we are going to send from the client to the server. Thank you.